Wow. She's pretty bright up here, people. Kia ora koutou, on behalf of Mandy, Robin and myself and our original trustee, Gala, I'd like to thank you all for attending tonight. It's pretty special. And the opportunity was given by Rotary to say, we'll hold a gala dinner for you. It made me think back in 2015, we launched the trust with a movie night. The choice of movie that particular day was called Black Balloon, and it gave people a first-hand experience of what it was like to live with an adult with a disability, namely autism. A lot of people left quite shocked. Don't think that was what the message we were trying to hit with, because it was our reality. Tonight, I'm happy to say that the subject matter, with the theme being cricket, is a lot more relatable to many of you in the room, and I just want to spend a few minutes now just giving you an insight about the trust, why we started it, where we got to, and has already been alluded to by Colin. Mandy and I have been on this crusade for nearly 10 years now. So, just to give you a bit of an idea, the Ahudu Moai Trust, Ahudu Moai means sheltered haven or safe space. When you're raising a child with a disability, you've got to be brave and courageous to enter the public domain. Sometimes the behaviour is not exactly spot on. P's and Q's aren't necessarily followed. And Mandy challenged me a long time ago to not necessarily continue to apologise for our son Isaac, who has autism, but to be his advocate. And I think that really changed my attitude in being with Ike in the public. But in 2015, we created the Ahudu Moai Trust. The place and the thing that we wanted to do was to create some safe spaces and places for families to get out off from their home and find support, take a breath and exhale. And that's very much been the centre of everything that we have chosen to do. Apologies to Sam and Kirsty. I never got your authority to show the photo. But in effect, this is our target market. Mandy was in the UK visiting family, and I thought, what am I going to do with my kids? I'll take them up Rangatuhi or Colonial Knob. And Isaac's somewhat reluctant in that photo because Kirsty and Sammy are somewhat pinning him in. But it was a good way to get out in the afternoon and do some stuff. So Rangatuhi is a particularly special place, or for me in Porirua. In April, I climb up or walk up 700 steps every day as part of a mountain to climb challenge, of which many in the room have joined me on. And if we walk it up every day, we exceed the height of Mount Everest, which in some way typifies the journey that raising a child with a disability speaks of. But those are my three. The little one is Kirsty, the middle one's Ike. He's typically non-verbal, although his words are getting better with I want toilet please, or I want juice please, I want McDonald's please. And big Sammy, I'm not sure with Mandy being in the UK if I dress them or I let them dress themselves, but Sammy loves headwear. I'm sure he's wearing a hat tonight.
He sure is.
But what we found, particularly with Isaac, is as he grew, the places that we could go to and frequent became smaller and smaller. One example I can give you is that he wanted to go to Chipmunks at probably about age 12, but the age limit was 10. So he was refused entry. And as his advocate, I said, he just wants to go down the slide. He just wants to be in the ball pit. But it became obvious to us at that point that it wasn't necessarily health and safety, or we didn't necessarily have the support of the operators to include him in that activity. So we used to frequent, that's the typical family outing. What I should have mentioned is that I'm the son of Dennis and Jan Latham. I was raised in Porirua, and I've had the privilege of raising my children in Porirua. This is a typical example of us going to Battle Hill on a rainy day, gloomy, because we knew no one else would be about. You may have seen us at Plimerton Beach in near tsunami conditions, enjoying the beach. In fact, one concerned resident once rang me when I came home from work, and I said to Mandy, how did the day go? And she said, oh, pretty good. She showed me a sequence of photos of which about 8 firemen and 2 policemen turned up, because a concerned local had rung them thinking that the boy was stranded on the beach on the rocks as the tide was coming in. That was our Ike. In fact, I think Helen Brooks, your husband, may have been one of those gentlemen that attended that day. But that's sort of where we went to. So when we started the trust, Mandy and I decided that we were going to actually hire a facility called Awesome Bounce, which is a 1,500 square metre indoor facility in Porirua. We felt that we wanted to give Isaac the experience and his siblings the experience of still enjoying those spaces. So there's Ike in the under 5 pit. You can imagine that on any other Saturday or Friday, and the number of parents that will be telling me, excuse me, he's not under 5. But the sensory sensation he gets in that ball pit, you just can't replicate. So we privately hired the Awesome Bounce on a Tuesday night for an hour at a cost of $350, I think. And it's expanded to 2 hours, and now it's expanded to 4 hours, to the point that we provide over 500 families with the access to that sort of facility. 1,100 participants come through in any calendar year. We advocate for safe places and spaces and swimming pools. In fact, I got a phone call this week from someone who said that their grandchild is now 3, has been diagnosed with autism, but did I know that there was a sensory swimming session available up in Kapiti swimming pool? We didn't and weren't initially involved in that one, but the movement that we started and the advocacy is starting to filter through the rest of New Zealand. So we get confidence in taking Ike to a place like that, to the point that he starts rocking any playground. And I think that's the point of the safe spaces that we create. It's about giving an opportunity for families to be brave, be courageous, understand their children a little bit more, so that we can then venture into places that are bigger and bigger. Because if we don't do that, we become more and more insulated. Our house is fully locked, every window, every door. You guys think lockdown level 4 was tough, try and live in autism lockdown number 45 for 24 years. But why do I think Porirua is a great place? Why am I proud of Porirua? Because this city supports families like mine, and I can give you multiple examples about people mowing lawns, people even buying me a lawnmower, people offering their swimming pool for us, people coming at a drop of a hat to come and fix a window for us, people buying our groceries. I might have already said that, but it's something that stuck in my mind, that support is there for us. That's why I know this community will support what we're trying to do in creating an outdoor play space. So that's a little bit about the Latham story. Colin touched on it. Mandy and I in 2015 advocated for a safe space out in the public. In 2015, we fell short. We didn't get it off the ground. I was gutted. It took us 2 years to kick on, but it was interesting to hear the seed that we sowed went on to do other things. And here we are nearly 10 years later, working with Julie and Emily and the Parks team to come up with this space. We're doing things a little bit different. We are not going, where's a piece of land, now let's try and make it fit. We've actually gone out and surveyed families and said, what is it that you're looking for? Because we didn't want it to be about our experience. So that's Mandy and Isaac on the Kipimana News, taken by Chris Dando. And some of you may have seen recently, we went out to the public and asked them to come forward and tell us what they're after. And as a result of all of that, what we heard is that one of the key parts is manakitanga, a welcoming, considered, and a place of being welcoming, considered and accepted. Whanaungatanga, being inclusive, having some variety and being together. And taiao, natural, calming and sensory. So how we're pitching all of that together is around the manakitanga. The feedback from families was for all peoples to be themselves without judgment, a place my child can explore without me worrying that he'll run onto a road, toilets and parking nearby, quiet places and open spaces, usable by adults with ASD, which is autism spectrum disorder, as well as younger children. We also heard around whanaungatanga, an inclusive environment, families attending with neurodivergent children, intersensory zones, and to share in the fun as a parent, activities so siblings can play too. We also heard around the taiao, trees and green spaces to explore, being in nature is calming, the sensory feel of sand, green grassy spots next to play areas, natural shade and bird life. So what I want, one of the messages for you guys to take away today, we're not trying to build a Disneyland. We're not trying to build a $3 million play space in Porirua. What we're trying to provide is a space which some of you might go, I've just explained your backyard. That is what we're trying to create by way of a community backyard, a play space where families like ours that are locked in for 24/7 can actually leave our home with confidence and go and enjoy and bump into like-minded families. So the vision is an inclusive space in Porirua which provides positive play experience for rangatahi and tamariki living with sensory differences or cognitive or communication challenges. Some of you might experience that after a few beers tonight. There is something for everyone in rangatahi, tamariki and their whānau and friends, a place they can play, explore, relax and bond in the outdoors together. And our vision includes flexible spaces, some busy spaces, some sensory spaces and some calming spaces. Open but safe space for him to run and play his imaginary sort of games. Green grassy spots next to play areas. These are all feedback we got from our community. Swings and spinning, if this can be combined even better. Lots of climbing, jumping and swinging. Activities that don't require turn taking. We also think around the sensory side that my daughter loves the sensory feel of sand, water, sound play areas, sensory gardens, stepping stones and logs that can be used for a damn good game of the floor is lava. And in the calming space, areas that include physical activity but also quieter areas, nooks that have some visibility but also a sense of safety. That is the conclusion of close to 12 weeks worth of work. I'd love to be able to say to you tonight, and it's going to be in this place. We're currently working with Porirua City Council in partnership and Rotary to work out where that place best suited for the needs list of the whānau is. It's not going to be Aotea Lagoon because it doesn't tick close to any of those boxes, despite the number of suggestions. It's not going to be converting a dog park into something that our children can play in. So we're looking for something fresh. I know we've got some good support behind us. I'm encouraged by you guys attending tonight. And to kick things off, there's two things. What I didn't say is how do we grow from going 1 hour to multiple hours a week. We do it with 2 fundraisers. I touched on the Mountain to Climb up at Rangatuhi in April. We sell socks in Socktober because you can't walk a mile on my shoes, but you can wear some socks to show your support. And this particular October, I was challenged by the Parliamentary Sports Trust to come and play a game of rugby, which I haven't put the boots on for a few years. Got 30 guys willing to jump on and pay $250 to jam to play the parliamentarians. Unfortunately, the parliamentarians we wanted to play didn't turn up. But they got a pile of policemen and former parliamentarians to give us a good run. The result didn't matter for us. We had Barb Edmonds there with the netball team, and I coerced a number of women, particularly to play the netball, who hadn't even touched a netball, all in for a good cause. And the reason that we did it is that we wanted to raise the first $25,000 to go towards this play space. I'm in a really well paid job now, and I can't say that I've always had been. But in the early days when we were on one income and we had this dream to kick it off, it wouldn't have been possible without using some of the inheritance from Mandy's late mother Jill, who today happens to be the anniversary of her passing. I'm sure she's looking down, babe, and she's pretty proud. But what goes around comes around. We're a giving sort of family. It's not about the Lathams, it's about the Philemonis, it's about the Wafers, it's about the Bajents. We're trying to create a better way for you guys than what we had. So on behalf of Mandy, Robin and I, thank you very much. Enjoy your evening and travel safe. Ka kite.